Hey everybody, how's it going? It is Dunbar Snack Bar. It's time for some more MLB The Show 20 gameplay and Road to the Show with Roberto De La Rosa. Alright, so one of the things that I said in episodes previous to this one is that if you guys ever had any questions, to pop them in the comment section and I will answer them. So I've got a couple for this particular episode. I'll just go ahead and dive into a little bit. But first, look at those stats. This is awesome. I'm loving how we're doing with Roberto this year. Looking at a 1.18 ERA, walks and hits per inning pitched at .84, 65 strikeouts over 9 starts. That is how it's done. Okay, so the first question today comes from Gabe Garcia. He goes, okay, question for you is what do you think of the idea of baseball games being moved to my home state of Arizona until this thing going on in the world that is keeping us all at home is handled? I gotta say it because I'm sure YouTube does not like when I say that. So MLB has made a suggestion of it where 3 games a day will be played at Chase Field and only 7 innings each, and that the spring training facilities will be used as practice fields. Also, the home plate umpire would be 6 feet behind the catcher and be helped by a digital strike zone to call strikes. Okay. So, interesting scenario there, and I think I've seen a couple things about it. So, I'll start off just by kind of saying my background with all of this. So, I've been dealing with contingency planning for work for the last 3 months now, basically. Maybe 2.5 months. But it's just been kind of all preparation for this. So I have been living the let's be safe as possible. Let's do all we can to protect people. And so that's kind of what I default to when I hear about this particular scenario. I don't think there's... Well, here's a couple things that I think would be against the idea that I think is important to recognize. So first and foremost is this wouldn't necessarily be real baseball as people know it. Like when I hear people being like, oh, I want baseball back, I haven't heard people say, why did that guy go? Anyway, I haven't heard people say like, I want baseball back in any form whatsoever. I feel like that this would be a variation of baseball that people wouldn't be completely happy with, if that makes sense. So the idea of 7 innings played at Chase Field with nobody in the stands, I mean, all of that would really be a different form of baseball than people are used to. And I think with baseball having a lot of traditionalists, I don't think as many people would necessarily tune into that as much. And as much as it doesn't seem like a big deal, I find it a big deal that there wouldn't be anybody there to really watch the games. One of the coolest baseball games that I ever saw was a number of years ago, but it was the Dodgers, and I can't remember who else it was, but it was at a cricket field in Australia, and it was hands down the coolest baseball game that I had ever watched because of the crowd interaction. So you had like all these Australians who were not familiar with the game of baseball, obviously not nearly as familiar as we are, and watch it all the time, and they were getting so into it at moments you don't normally recognize. Like there would be a foul ball and the whole crowd would start like clapping and cheering, and it's like, guys, it's just a foul ball. But it made that game just so much fun to watch. And with nothing going on in the stands, I mean, I feel like it would be a different game. You know, the things that you hear in the background, like the crowd cheering, applause, all of that. Even like here, with the organ and all that stuff in the background, probably wouldn't be there. It would just feel very, very different. And I don't know if I would necessarily be willing to have baseball if it wasn't the baseball that I like watching. Now, there's a couple other things to consider, too, and that is how the players would necessarily feel about it. I think with this proposal, it is very fan-centric. Hey, let's just have something out there for people to watch. And I think when you kind of put yourself in the position of the players, this is not a good proposition for them. If everything's taking place in Arizona, then a lot of these players are going to go months without seeing their families. I think there's a lot of people that's not going to want that. Arizona is also, and I guess this would also depend on how long this goes, but Arizona is not necessarily known as being a climate-friendly place And so those, having been at a number of those spring training facilities, you know, being out in the open and stuff like that, I don't think it would necessarily be too great of an environment for the players to play in as well. So I feel like you're kind of getting halfway baseball. So for the most part, I am against it. But I don't know. If I had to make a decision, I would say no. But I see all the pro sides to it. As somebody who enjoys baseball, I actually enjoy when they kind of show old games, especially if they're games that I haven't seen. I know not everybody's the case, so maybe it will appease some people. I also feel like, though, and this is kind of going back to what I was saying earlier about just some things that may not necessarily be too, or fans might not like it. The idea of a digital strike zone, I think, really brings an element to the game that not too many people would be happy with because of the precedent that it sets. You know, because if you can call balls and strikes digitally, then there may be a push at some point to be like, well, let's just introduce this in the game. Like, let's take the human element out of it. If we've proven that calling strikes and zones effectively can be done basically by a computer, there will be people who will say, let's go with that. I don't think I necessarily want that as a precedent that has been set. I do like having the human element in there. I know we've all had situations where our teams have, you know, kind of been screwed over because of balls or strikes that were called that were obviously wrong. But I mean, it is part of the game. So I don't know. I'm more against it than I am in for it, or that I am for it. But I don't think I would necessarily be angry if they implemented that. Hopefully that makes sense. And I can honestly go on, but Gabe, I don't want to do that to you and just annoy you with my long answer there. So we'll get to the next question here real quick, which comes from Jeffrey Adams. He goes, I remember back in one of your previous Q&As, and he started off by saying, actually, hey man, been watching you since the early days. So thanks, Jeff. And also thanks for coming back after all this time too. So I said my favorite TV show was Jericho. Is that still your favorite TV show, or has your opinion changed? Okay, so to start off this question, man, TV has changed a lot since then. And so for me, TV shows are kind of like movies or music. My favorite one will change. As I've gotten older, you know, I have had more of a staple of those things that I've kind of been drawn to. And the definition of TV has really changed since that time too. Because now, you know, you go on a streaming service and a season maybe 10 episodes. Well, back in the days of Jericho, that was a mini-series and not necessarily a TV series. So when I get asked the question, what's my favorite TV show now, I'll always say Band of Brothers. Even though that was a mini-series, I don't see any difference between that and a TV show that has been kind of put out now. Jericho, though, still love the whole premise of the show. I still think it was great. It was way ahead of its time. One of the reasons it got canceled was because of the digital views that, you know, it was having. People would watch it online more than they were really watching it on TV, or at least the numbers were impacted because people were watching it online. And now, like, CBS would get super excited about that. Like, hey, people are watching it. We don't care if it's on TV or on CBS All Access, you know, whatever it is. And so, like, when it ended on season 2, when that Civil War was going to start, I was like, oh, this is going to be awesome. But it got canceled. And I know there's been comic books that have gone over seasons 3 and 4, but I haven't had an opportunity to read them, nor do I know when I would have time to read them and all of that. But it's probably not my favorite anymore because, again, the definition of TV has really changed. I still love it. I mean, I would go back and watch it. Last time I watched it, though, was actually the first time that I watched it with my girlfriend, who is now my wife, and we would get copies of the DVDs from Blockbuster and watch it. That tells you how long ago that was. But, no, good question. I'm surprised you remember that. I'm curious if what made that stick in your mind. Seriously, good show. Anyway, thanks for the questions, guys. I will try and do more as they come in. So, yeah, keep the questions coming. Anyway, the way that this game has gone for Roberto is oh, he didn't catch it. Dang it. Whoa, why did he stop? That would have been a almost guaranteed triple. But the way that this game has gone is this has really turned into a pitcher's duel. In case you guys weren't really following too closely, or I guess you could see on the scoreboard right there. Yeah, it's tied at 0 right now. One hit for our team, too, so I don't feel like there's a good chance I'm going to come away with the win. Oh, he's going for 3, and he's out. Maybe that was like, oh, I feel like I should have gone for a triple and try to see if he can make up for it, but at the end of the day, turns out to be more harmful than it was helpful there. Gosh, that was pretty close. Anyway, the way that the season's been going for Roberto has been really awesome. I wasn't expecting this kind of success, even at the AA level. We're seeing that a lot of his pitches are really starting to develop. By a lot, I really mean 2, the 4-seamer and the curve. But I'd be interested in looking at the proportion of times that I end up throwing those pitches versus the 2-seamer. That's going to be the pitch that I am going to have to work on in between different games. But I also got to get the home runs per 9 innings up, just so that way that's not much of an issue. I'm worried when I make it to the next level, we're seeing like 1 or 2 home runs a game. Like, getting the strikeouts per 9 inning is nice. It's an area where he definitely excels and it'll become more of a strength, but I'm going to have to balance between home runs per 9 innings and also developing that 2-seam fastball. Still on the fence on when I want to open up pitch number 4.
Now batting, the catcher.
Meh.
JJ.
It might be a while. All right, we're going to start him off high and inside. Come on, get there, dude. You can make it. You could have dived. You could have ran harder. Weak sauce right there. Just weak sauce. Here I am berating my team for literally no reason whatsoever, except for the fact it is kind of fun to do every now and then. I'm not going to lie. Oh. Sometimes those ones get called for me, and it is so nice. Swing and a miss on the total 6 curve. That's why I've been throwing with that one so much. Now, I'm being told to throw the 2-seamer. A little iffy just because of the speed difference, but we get it done with the 4-seamer anyway. Another strikeout here for Roberto. Now we're in the top of the 6th. Question is, how long am I going to stay in? Oh, nice. Fielding opportunity. We get the throw over to first, and it will be in time. Those are some of the coolest moments, I feel like, for the pitcher, because you just don't expect that. Because, at least for me, as I'm going through this, it's just pitch after pitch after pitch. And that's why I struggle with getting over to first. You know, if the first baseman is working on fielding a ground ball or something. But, man, yeah, when you get the opportunity to do the fielding, that's nice. I'm not going to be in a position where I'm going to have, like, an amazing, accurate arm or anything like that. My fielding obviously won't be up there because I'm not going to really work on that. I want to get the bigger and more important stuff out of the way. Oh, another strikeout. I think that one was the 2-seamer too, which is a real mix-up for what I'm throwing at any particular time, let alone on strike 3. But I'll do whatever it takes. Whatever gets me that 3rd strike. This one going in the left field. That's going to drop just short. And Midland gets yet another hit. Still not allowing a run on either side. And I don't know if you guys remember the last episode, too, how I was talking about Midland was the Oakland A's AA affiliate. So I've got a fondness for these guys. It's kind of nice having some competition with this team.
Now batting, the first
I don't see them too much. So it's kind of nice to have the home and away series. All right. 4-seamer low. And we've got the 1-1 count. I've gotten ahead just so much. With a lot of batters, I've gotten ahead in the count. And it has been so helpful for me as I can just throw some nasty stuff trying to force that strike 3. Get them swinging at something that they really shouldn't. But I've also had some luck with some of the pitches, like you've seen with the 12-6, even though I've been throwing it out of the strike zone, or a majority of it has been out of the strike zone. There's been far more times than not that, for whatever reason, the pitch stays inside of the strike zone. Strike 3 yet again. Roberto. Dude's just rocking it.
Leading off for Midland.
Triple and a single. Well, here we are in the top of the 7th. I don't think he's going to be hitting for the cycle, but man, that'd be like the worst highlight to show you guys, is if in a game I'm going up against a computer and someone on their team hits for the cycle. That would, rough. Oh well. Let's see if we can just keep trucking along here. This will be pitch number 80, which will get fouled. Stamina's been a lot better since I purchased some additional equipment for him. I might work on getting some more too. I don't know. I've been going through the community market and just buying things up and selling them back right away to get some quick and easy stubs. But the things that I need, not only for Roberto here, but also for Sigmund Sunwafer, I mean, that stuff's getting up there in the diamond section, and that's pretty expensive as far as stubs go. And I don't want to put too much of my everyday money into this, so I'm going to have to work it up just a little bit at a time. There is strike 3. It's 9 for today. What has been unique about this particular game is that all my strikeouts, I shouldn't say all of them, but I feel like a lot of the strikeouts have been loaded up closer towards the latter part of what we've seen so far rather than at the beginning. It seems like early on in the game is usually when I get the most amount of strikeouts, and then it kind of decreases as time goes on, but not here. I might have even in one inning struck out a side, which that'll kind of really increase your tally there. Maybe not. I don't know. For some reason, I'm thinking like inning 5 or 6, but I could be wrong. Oh, off the wall again. This one is going to turn into a triple. See, that's what I mean. Like when I get to the AAA level, there's going to be enough of a difference when it comes to power that those ones are going to be gone. I'm not going to be doing so well in the earned run column, that's for sure. I just had this weird feeling he was going to round third and try to turn it into an inside the park home run. But that is going to be it here for me. Is you can see the Travelers are going to be going to the bullpen. Whoever's coming in to relieve me has a pretty good shot at being able to get out of the inning without allowing a run, which I would personally appreciate. But we'll see how this game ends. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to get the win since Matt Festa is going to be pitching now. But I don't know. I just, all the work that I put into this game, all the success that I have had, I want it to count for something. So that's why I'm really curious. Okay, I was relieved in the 7th. Nice. All right, we win, and they're interviewing me, so I got player of the game. Not that bad at all. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, hit the bell icon for more if you haven't already. You can get notified when more episodes like this and others end up coming out. Also, if you want to support me, in the description below, you'll find a link to the Dunbar Snack Bar Patreon. It's a great way to help out. Thanks for those who are supporting me there. And also, you will find a link to the Dunbar Snack Bar Discord. Drop by and say hi. Let us know what you think about that proposition for baseball. It'd be kind of cool to see what you guys think. Anyway, if you've watched this all the way through, mad props. Comment down below with icicle. It's supposed to snow tomorrow for me, and that's lame. So icicle. I just like knowing who's watched this video all the way through, so if you put that in the comment section, I'll know who's watched it. You guys are awesome for doing that. Anyway, thanks again for watching, you guys. I appreciate it. Until next time, I hope you guys have a good one.